Petroecuador's Post-Consortium oil operations and remediation efforts, 1992 to present. After the consortium ended in 1990, TexPet remediated its share of pits in the former concession. Meanwhile, Petroecuador, the state-owned oil company, became the sole owner of all oil fields in the former concession and accepted responsibility for remediating all remaining pits. As part of its expanding operations, Petroecuador has dug hundreds of new earthen pits and created acres of pit farms in the former concession for the disposal of drilling wastes. The use of these pits in the Oriente continues to be permitted under Ecuadorian law. According to a joint 2006 study by King's College in London and Petroecuador, Petroecuador's continuing operations and their crude oil spills are the biggest contamination risk in the Oriente region. The Ecuadorian media has reported that Petroecuador was responsible for more than 1,400 spills from 2000 to 2008. And Petroecuador's own documents disclose more than 4.5 million gallons of crude oil have been spilled by Petroecuador since 1992. Of the 1,400 documented spills, 66% were attributed to Petroecuador's negligence, many blamed on a lack of maintenance and operating errors. Petroecuador's spills continue today. This is an August 2011 spill near Shushufindi 21. After delaying for nearly a decade, finally, in 2006, Petroecuador, through a program known as PEPTA, began cleaning up its share of the former concession sites in earnest. Petroecuador delayed its cleanup because the Ecuadorian plaintiffs' lawyers opposed it, announcing that Petroecuador's remediation was a threat to their legal strategy. The plaintiffs' team members privately admitted, "We can't stop the government from starting a cleanup. We will just look like a bunch of bigots. We claim that we are just looking for an environmental restoration, and we are opposing it." But the plaintiffs' lawyers developed an anti-PEPTA plan anyway. When Petroecuador's $100 million remediation garnered publicity in 2009, plaintiffs' lead Ecuadorian lawyer, Pablo Fajardo, told Donziger that he was scared that Petroecuador's remediation costs little money and that Petroecuador's cleanup was worrisome and very unfavorable to us. In response, Stephen Donziger directed Ecuadorian counsel to end Petroecuador's cleanup, saying, "You have to go to President Correa to put an end to this shit once and for all." Although the Ecuadorian plaintiffs successfully delayed Petroecuador's cleanup effort for years, much remediation has finally occurred. Petroecuador has conducted remediation at more than 200 pits in the former concession, many of which have been certified as completely remediated by Ecuador's environmental agency, DINAPA. This remediation is consistent with numerous statements by the government of Ecuador and Petroecuador, publicly admitting their obligation to remediate the former concession. Most recently, in December of 2011, Petroecuador's general manager Marco Calvopina announced that Petroecuador would spend $70 million to remediate all remaining contamination in the Oriente within 2 years, including any remaining pollution in the former concession, because the pollution is in areas assigned to us, and we've got the obligation to clean them up. But certain pits have been excluded from Petroecuador's remediation. They include those pits on so-called toxic tours conducted by plaintiffs to raise litigation funding. Plaintiffs' lawyers take journalists, activists, celebrities, politicians, and film crews to sites Petroecuador should have cleaned up. On these tours, they falsely claim that the pits were TexPet's responsibility. And this pit at Shushufindi 61, centerpiece of the Ecuadorian plaintiffs' toxic tour, remains untouched, though Petroecuador has cleaned up pits all around it.